In this lesson, we are going to implement Google login using React, Node, and Express. What we're gonna do is to implement a page like this. Inside that, we have this button, Login with Google. When user click on it, user will be redirected to Google login page, and user can select their name or enter their email and password. And after selecting the account in Google, it will be redirected to our website, and here we show the email of user that logged in the Google. Also, user can click on logout to clear the login information and log in again. I teach you how to implement this app on Heroku to share your work on the internet. What we're gonna learn in this lesson is to work with Google Cloud Platform to create a project and enable Google authentication in this console. Also, we will deploy the website on Heroku, and I teach you how to deploy and configure Heroku to have this application on the internet. The package that we're gonna use to connect to Google in front end is React Google Login, and in the backend we use Google Library. If you are ready, let's get to it. First of all, open VS Code, and from terminal menu, click on New Terminal. Then go to your desktop folder, and here we are going to create a React application using npx create-react-app and set the app name to React Google Login and press enter. It takes a while to install all packages to create a React application, and after that we are ready to work on this project. Nice. It's time to go to the project folder, and here type code, put an space and enter dot. By pressing enter, we open another instance of Visual Studio Code, but this time the React Google Login project is open like this. So you can close the previous window of VS Code and go to this one. Open terminal. You are in React Google Login folder and start project. Here is the result, and we are going to convert this to this one. Let's go for it. Inside src, open app.js. Before the start coding, I'm going to show the plans for this project. In the front-end side, first of all, after creating the React app, we need to install React Google Login package. Open your terminal and click on plus icon here and enter npm install react-google-login and press enter. After installing this package, it's time for editing app.js and create a header for the app name. Close terminal, go to app.js, get rid of content inside header, and enter heading 1 and set the title to React Google Login app. After this, create a div, and inside the div, we are going to show Google Login component. It's coming from React Google Login. Press Ctrl space on it to get this recommendation, auto import, and press enter to import it automatically from this package. We need to set props for this component. The first one is client ID, and it's coming from the .env file. We will create it later, but for now, I'm going to set it to process.env.react_app_google_client_id, because Google Login work with this ID to identify the requester for the login. The next property is button text, and we're gonna show login with Google as a caption for the button. Next one is on success event, and we need to implement handle login. Next one is on failure. If there is an error, we need to handle failure. and set cookie policy to single host origin. That's it. Let's go and implement handle failure first because it's the simplest one. Define handle failure as a function. Here it shows the result of failure, and we're gonna just show alert the failure like this. For handle login, just create a function body and it accepts Google data as a parameter. So after login, we will be redirected here. I'm going to just console log Google data, but later we implement this function. Get rid of the logo, import, and here is the code for Google login component. Let's check the result. The title is Google login app, but the login with Google is disabled. Open Chrome DevTools, and here you will get this error. It says missing required parameter client ID. Because this value is null, the client ID will be null, and we will get this error. Let's fix it. Here it's time to go for creating Google Cloud Platform project. First of all, log into Google and then go to this link. If you already have a project, you will have your project here. But for the very first time, click here, click on new project and enter a name for the project. I'm gonna set it to React Google Login. Click create. After creating the project, click on select project. Then click on navigation menu. From API and services, select credentials. In this screen, you need to configure consent screen. Click on it, select external, create, enter your app name, React Google App Login, select your email here. It's optional for app logo, and enter your website name if you like. Here, I'm going to keep it empty, and then select developer contact information. Enter your email, select save and continue. In the scopes, there is no need to have any change, just save and continue. In the test user, you need to add yourself as a test user. So click on add users, enter your email and click on add. So you will have your email here, click on save and continue, and that's it. You created OAuth consent screen. The next step is gonna be going to credentials, click on create credentials, select OAuth client ID and select the application type to web application. The name of it is React Google Login or whatever your app name is. Here is very important, authorize JavaScript origins. Click on add URL and enter localhost http://localhost 3000, add another one, copy and paste it, make it to port 5000, and also we're gonna enter the Heroku address http:// whatever your app name is. I'm going to set the app name to React Google Login and then put a dash and enter your name to make it unique because it should be unique in the Heroku deployment platform. Put a dot herokuapp.com. So I have added 3 URLs for development using React, production in the local computer, and also its HTTPS, the name of my app on Heroku. Click on create. That's it. Here we need to click on copy to copy the client ID and then go back to the project, to VS Code, right click here, new file and set file name to .env and press enter. Set the key to React _app Google client ID =, and paste the key here. Save the file, go back to README, and we have done these steps. The next step is gonna be opening terminal. Go to this terminal, the terminal that we are running the React project. Press Ctrl+C to stop it and run it again. The reason that I'm doing this is to read the content of this variable inside the app.js at this point. As you see, this time it's clickable. If I click on login, I need to only log in with the test user because this API is not in live mode. It's just in test mode, and select it. After that, you will be redirected here. And as you see, we have the data here. It includes all information about my login. That's it. Let's go for the next step. Based on the steps here, the next step is gonna be implementing login data state hook. Go to app.js. At the very beginning of app component, define login data as a state, import use state from React. As a default value for the login data, read local storage.getItem login data. We are going to save the login information in local storage, and at the very beginning, we try to read from it. If it does exist, use json.parse to convert the string in local storage to a JavaScript object. Otherwise, set login data to null. Next step is gonna be checking login data in the render section. Before rendering Google login, I'm going to have a check for login data. If it's already exists, instead of rendering Google login, I'm going to render this message. Inside parentheses, render this div. You logged in as a login data.email and put a button on click handle logout and show logout as a caption for the button. Otherwise, render the Google login component. Drag it here, save the file, and here is the new change in the return part of this component. We need to implement handle logout, scroll up, and implement handle logout like this. Just remove the login data from local storage and set login data state to null. Because we didn't set item in login data, the handle logout will not work because at the first place, there is no value in the local storage for this item. So it's time to work on handle login right here. Instead of console log, I'm going to send an AJAX request to the backend. We need to implement the backend later. Here is the code to send the AJAX request. Change this function to async because we are using await here. Fetch this URL. HTTP method is post, and the body is the Google data.token ID. It's coming from the Google, and set header to application.json. After that, call rest.json as async, put it to the data field, and based on the data that we are getting from backend, set login data state. At the end, it's time to set the local storage based on the data from backend. That's it about handle login function. Okay, the code in the front end side is done, and it's time to go for the backend. At this moment, we can check the result. Click on login, select Google account, and come back to the project. We are getting this error. It says /API/Google login 404 error. We didn't implement this API. First of all, go to the package.json and set a proxy to proxy API requests to another port. After the name, define this proxy. So all requests to /API/Google login will be redirected to this host. So we need to create a server at this port. To do that, right click in the empty space here, new file, and set file name to server.js. We need to install. Select this terminal and npm install express.env and google-auth-library. To create the web server, we need these three packages. After installing them, go back to server.js and import express from express.env from .env and OAuth to client from google-auth-library. The next step is gonna be configuring .env using .env.config. By running this code, the value inside .env files will be accessed inside the server.js. After that, create a client from OAuth to client based on the value inside Google Client ID in .env file, and then create Express app and use express.json to read the content in the payload of post requests and put them in rec.body. Also, I'm going to create an array of users, and when a user logged in, I'm gonna have them inside this variable, so you can change it to MongoDB database if you like. And then it's time to create an API at this address. Post request to /API/Google login will be handled in this function. What I'm gonna do in this function is to read the token from the request.body like this, and then call client.verifyToken to verify the token that we are getting from frontend. And after that, from the ticket, I'm gonna read name, email, and picture of the user that logged in. Also, save the user inside the users array. To save, I am using upsert or update and insert function. Here is the body of this function. It gets an array and an item to add or update in this array, and find the index of that item based on the email address. If it does exist, then update that index of array with the new item, otherwise push it to the server. Let's continue coding in the API. Set status to 201 because we are creating a new login, and then send this JSON, the name, email, and picture of user. This data is gonna be sent to this point, to the data variable, and we are going to save them in the local storage. Inside the package.json, we have the proxy, and we have these new packages: .env, Express, Google Auth library, React Google login. After creating this, it's time to call app.listen to launch the server. For the port, we try to get the port from .env variable, environment variable, but if it does not exist, use 5000 as a default port. Also, we need to use or 5000 here too. It's time to launch the server, open terminal, and run node server.js and press enter. Server is ready at this port. If you open it, you will get this error message, cannot get / but it's not an issue because we are looking for /API/Google login as a post method. After running this, it's time to stop the frontend project, the React application, and run it again because we have a change in package.json and we need to restart the server. Then click on login with Google, click on your name. It says you logged in as your email address. If you click on logout, it works and it shows login with Google again. And if you click again, you can log in and try it again. That's it. We successfully implemented login with Google, and it's time to go for the next step, which is publishing on Heroku. To do that, we need to go to the project folder, right click here, and create a new file. Set file name to pros file with capital P, so the icon should be Heroku icon without any extension, and press enter. Set the content of it to this. In web environment, run node server.js. The next change is gonna be in server.js, and we're gonna serve the content inside build folder. The build folder is gonna be generated automatically by React, so we are going to serve the React application in the server in the backend too. To serve the backend application, add this middleware app.use path serve static files inside build folder. Let's import path from path, duplicate this, path from path. It's a built-in package of Node.js. And then render all addresses in get method to index.html inside build folder. Save the file, open the Explorer, open terminal, and close all instance and kill terminals. Open terminal again and run npm run build. We are going to build the build folder inside the root of the project like this, and then run node server.js and enter enter. Control click on it. This time we have the application running in the 5000 port. If I click on login, click on my name, it should work here too. It shows you're logged in as it is. That's it about deploying the project on local environment, but we are going to deploy that on Heroku. First of all, go to id.heroku.com/login and create an account. If you already have an account, click on login. After login, click on new, create new app, and enter the app name. If you remember from the Cloud Google platform, while you were creating the client ID, you have set the URIs for authorized JavaScript origin to this one. Copy this as a Heroku app name and paste it right here. It should be available. Click on Create App and click on GitHub Connect. Here you are going to connect your Heroku app to GitHub. But first of all, we need to deploy our project on GitHub. To do that, go to the VS Code, click on Source Control. For .env file, right click and click Add to .gitignore. We're not going to share it on GitHub. Also, you can delete the yarn.log because we are using npm to install stuff. Click Explorer, right click on .yarn.log and delete it. And go back to the source control, enter a message, deploy to Heroku. Then click on commit, save all and commit. And after that, you will have publish changes. Click on publish changes. You need to be logged into the GitHub in your VS Code. And then you will have this recommendation, react-google-login, publish to private repository or publish to public. I'm going to select the public. Wait a moment to publish to GitHub. After that, click on open on GitHub. You will have it right here, your code. Go back to Heroku, and here, before connecting to GitHub, go to setting, click on reveal config var, and for the key, go to .env file. Here, copy React app, paste it here, and copy this after equal sign to the very end and paste it here and click on add. After setting this, go back to deploy, select GitHub again. You need to connect your account to GitHub and then enter react-google-login and click on search. Select the project and click on connect. Great. The next step is gonna be choosing a branch to deploy. Select enable automatic deploy and here click on deploy branch. Great. It will start installing packages, running npm install, npm run build, and then run the code that you have in pros file to start the application. Wait a while to finish the deployment steps. Here is the build phase, caching build, and its build is successful. The next step is compressing and launching the server. It's launching phase, and that's it. It says released, and at the end, it says deploy to Heroku. Your app was successfully deployed. Click on view. Great. We have the application running here. Let's test it on live environment. Select your name, and that's it. You successfully implemented React Google login on Heroku. That's it about this lesson. Until next lesson, bye-bye.